Hello students, I am Miss Alpha Sahu from KV Rao Pusa. Today we are going to read a very interesting poem from your English Honeycomb book. The name of the poem is The Squirrel. So before we begin with the poem, let me ask you when and where you had seen a squirrel last time. Do you remember how it looked? Take a moment and try to recollect. So we all have seen squirrels, and whenever we come across one, we stop and watch it for a while, isn't it? Of course, because they are so cute that we enjoy observing them. So here our poet, Mildred Armstrong, has observed a squirrel and has written a beautiful poem on it. So let's read the poem. He wore a question mark for tail, an overcoat of grey. He sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play. And if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. So, it's a small descriptive poem. Here the poet has described the squirrels he has observed. So she says that the squirrel wears a question mark for tail. She means to say that the squirrel's tail looks like a question mark. When she looks at the squirrel's tail, it resembles that of a question mark. And notice that the poet says he wore a question mark for tail. So does an animal wear a tail? Of course not. But the poet says he wore a tail instead of saying he has a tail, just to make the line more appealing. So let's read ahead. He wore a question mark for tail, an overcoat of grey. Then the poet says, he has an overcoat of grey. So is the squirrel wearing an overcoat? Of course not. Here, the poet means that he has thick fur on his body, which is grey in color, and it looks like as if the squirrel is wearing an overcoat. Okay, let's read ahead. He sat up straight to eat a nut. Okay. You must have seen when a squirrel walks, he always keeps his body bent forward, right? But when he eats a nut, he sits up straight. That is why the poet is saying here, he sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play. Squirrel is a very playful animal in nature. He likes to tease. What is the meaning of tease? Here you can see the girl is teasing the boy. Okay, in order to tease him, she is making funny faces. So tease means to provoke somebody playfully. So the squirrel is a very playful animal. He loves teasing other animals who come across him. Okay. So he liked to tease and play. And if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. Okay. So the squirrel is an innocent animal. He's playful as well as timid. It's a delight to watch him from a distance, but if we will go near him, then he will just run away from us in order to avoid any danger. And his movement is also very fast. So the poet says that if we ran around his tree, that means if we went near the tree, he will go the other way and will escape from us. So this was the poet's description of a squirrel. By writing a poem on a small creature like a squirrel, the poet has proved that poetry can even be written on the things which appear very small, very ordinary to our eyes. So we just need to have a poetic approach towards the world. So I hope you enjoyed the poem. Let's move ahead towards the rhyming scheme of this poem. So here you can see the first, third and the fifth line do not rhyme with each other, whereas the second, fourth and the sixth line rhyme with each other. Look at the encircled words. The word grey rhymes with the word play and way. Okay, so the second, fourth and sixth line rhyme with each other, and the first, third and fifth line do not rhyme with each other. So the rhyming scheme here becomes AB, CB, DB. Okay, so we have used different letters for the lines which do not rhyme with each other and same letters for the lines which rhyme with each other. So the rhyming scheme becomes AB, CB, DB. So next, let's discuss about the poetic devices used in this poem. So here you can see, look at the poem once again. You can see here the poet uses the word he to refer to the squirrel. The poet says he wore a question mark. Who wears a question mark? Of course, the squirrel. So the poet has used the word he to refer to the squirrel, but generally we use the word it to refer to an animal. So the poet has used he instead of it to personify the squirrel. So here the poetic device is personification. What is personification? Treating animals or non-living things as a person, as a living thing. Okay? So it is called a personification. The poet has described the animal as a person, or rather we can say as a small kid who's naughty, who's playful and innocent. Okay? And the next poetic device used here is imagery. What is an imagery? It's visualizing a picture while reading a text. So you must have observed while reading the description of the picture of a squirrel, a picture of a squirrel was coming into your mind, right? While we were reading the poem, a picture of a squirrel playing, running around the tree and eating a nut, that was coming into our mind. So this is called an imagery. When we read a certain text and an image is formed in our mind, it is called an imagery. So, I hope you like this poem and do read more and more poems. Thank you.